What if I told you Tony Stark was never who we thought he was? What if Iron Man's greatest secret wasn't hidden in any suit, AI, or sacrifice, but in his identity itself? And what if the proof has been sitting right in front of us across decades of Marvel storytelling, whispering one terrifying possibility: Tony Stark was always Dr. Doom? Before you dismiss it as impossible, consider this: Marvel loves identity twists, timeline loops, and variants that rewrite everything we know. And Tony Stark's arc is filled with suspicious overlaps, uncanny parallels, and reality-bending clues that align disturbingly well with Victor Von Doom's mythology. Two geniuses, two futurists, two destinies that converge far more than diverge. Let's start with the most shocking detail. Both Tony and Doom share the same foundational flaw: an obsession with control, technology, destiny, and reshaping the world through their own intellect. They don't react to the world, they redesign it. And Marvel has repeatedly shown that this trait leads to authoritarian futures where Stark and Doom become nearly indistinguishable. Look back at the comics. Multiple alternate timelines show Tony becoming a tyrant covered in metal, ruling nations through armored armies, practically mirroring Doom's Doombots. Marvel writers didn't accidentally craft those parallels. They were intentionally blurring the line between hero and monarch long before the MCU even existed. Now think about the way Tony behaves in the MCU. He creates Ultron. He enforces global-scale protection. He believes only he can prevent catastrophe. That philosophy isn't Iron Man's alone, it's Doom's core belief system. Even Doom's entire origin revolves around saving the world from unseen threats, no matter the cost. But here's where things get suspicious. In several multiverse stories, Tony and Doom share not only ideology but destiny. Marvel continuity has repeatedly hinted at a merging, replacement, or mirrored life between them. One famous example is infamous Iron Man, where Doom becomes Iron Man, stepping into Tony's role seamlessly, as if he was always meant to be there. Fans assumed it was symbolic, but what if it wasn't? What if Marvel was telling us that Tony and Doom aren't two separate destinies, but a single identity manifesting differently across universes? A cosmic echo, one man split by multiversal divergence rather than true individuality. Let's dig deeper into their origins. Tony Stark loses his parents under mysterious circumstances tied to espionage and secrets. Doom loses his parents under mystical circumstances tied to tragedy and destiny. Both are defined by parental loss that pushes them into genius-driven isolation, emotional suppression, and reliance on metal armor as psychological armor. And notice this: both are prodigies whose intellect surpasses their mentors, rivals, and governments. Both crack technologies humanity shouldn't be able to touch: time travel, multiversal gateways, and AI-assisted energy systems. In fact, Tony's time GPS tech in Endgame is the closest MCU equivalent to Doom's time platform. Two men, same obsession, mastering time itself. This is not coincidence. But it gets even stranger. Marvel has subtly shown that Tony Stark has an unnatural intuition for the multiverse, something he never should have understood with earthly science. Consider how quickly Tony solved time travel. No decades of experimentation, no testing, just a casual solve overnight. That level of multiversal fluency? Doom-level intellect, not Stark level. And there's a hidden detail fans often miss. Doom is one of the only Marvel characters whose genius spans both science and mysticism. Tony, on the surface, is pure science. But look closely: Tony constantly feels the future. He predicts threats no data should hint at. He dreams of battles, invaders, cosmic dangers long before they arrive. That intuition isn't science. It's destiny. It's mystic alignment, exactly like Doom's future sight abilities. Now let's connect a deeper clue. Tony's arc reactor and Doom's mystic armor core share conceptual DNA. Both rely on a heart substitute. Doom's magical armor uses soul-binding energy. Tony's reactor is literally described as an artificial heart sustaining his life. Two geniuses forced to replace their hearts to fulfill a destined path. And here's the craziest part: Marvel has canonically introduced universes where Tony Stark is Victor Doom. What if style comics reveal merged identities, swapped origins, and universes where Tony grows up in Latveria or Doom grows up as a Stark? These aren't simple variants, they hint at a deeper multiversal truth. And that truth might be this: Doom and Stark are not rivals. They are mirrors of the same cosmic archetype. Think about their shared obsession with legacy. Doom wants a future ruled by order. Tony wants a future protected by suits. Both create mechanical empires, Both build robot armies. Both prepare for wars only they foresee. Both alienate allies because they believe no one else understands the stakes. Heroes and tyrants aren't opposites, they're separated by one tiny decision. And Tony toes that line constantly. Another eerie connection is the mask. Doom hides behind a metal face to conceal his scars, physical and emotional. Tony hides behind a metal face to protect his fragility, physical and emotional. Strip the symbolism to its core and both men are the same, terrified visionaries using armor as a shield against destiny and self-hatred. And here's a psychological clue Marvel keeps emphasizing. Tony and Doom both suffer from obsessive guilt that fuels innovation and destruction simultaneously. Tony feels responsible for every catastrophe. Doom feels responsible for every flaw in the world. Both take on God-complex burdens not meant for mortals. Now consider the identity displacement theory. The multiverse allows identities to fracture, merge, or echo across timelines. This explains why Doom can step into Tony's role in infamous Iron Man without resistance. Because, in some realities, Doom is Tony, and Tony is Doom. Their destinies overlap, merge, or bleed together depending on universal alignment. This leads to an unsettling possibility. The MCU Tony Stark we know may not be the original Tony. He could be a variant rooted in Doom's destiny, explaining why his worldview grows darker, more authoritarian, more inevitable with every film. Even his nanotech armor resembles Doom's mystical armor shape-shifting abilities. Now let's talk about legacy manipulation. Doom is obsessed with rewriting history, both literal and metaphorical. Tony does the same, creating Ultron to rewrite global defense, rewriting the Sokovia Accords, rewriting time itself in Endgame. That level of manipulation reflects the mindset of a monarch, not a hero. There's also a frightening prophecy from the comics, the Iron Doom convergence. It suggests a future where the greatest genius becomes the greatest tyrant, wearing armor that blurs science and sorcery. Many fans thought it symbolized Doom, others thought it symbolized Tony. But what if it symbolized both merging? Let's now highlight their relationships. Doom and Tony both clash with Reed Richards, often seeing him as either a rival or a necessary ally. Tony's MCU friction with Banner, Strange, and even Cap resembles Doom's dynamic with Reed, competitive, territorial, intellectually combative. Tony behaves more like Doom toward peers than like a traditional hero. Even their aesthetics mirror each other. Doom's green cloak represents his balance between ruler and sorcerer. Tony's Mark 50 and Mark 85 armors glow gold, a regal color, symbolizing monarchy, much like Doom's royal Latvian theme. These design choices aren't random. Marvel embeds symbolism everywhere. Now think about this chilling moment in Endgame. When Tony snaps, he says, "I am Iron Man." But spiritually, that phrase echoes Doom's famous line, "Doom is supreme." Both declarations reflect identity transcendence, claiming destiny, claiming the universe's outcome, claiming absolute authority over life and death. Snap energy resembles God-tier power. Doom steals God-tier power multiple times in the comics. Tony uses it once, but his expression, confidence, and acceptance mirror Doom's posture in Secret Wars. Two men using omnipotence as if it was always meant for them. Another striking evidence lies in the timeline paradox. Doom and Tony are masters of self-fulfilling fates. Tony's death is treated not like a tragedy, but like a coronation, an ending that elevates him into near-mythic status. Doom receives the same treatment whenever he dies in major storylines. Their deaths aren't conclusions, they are transformations. Now consider the multiverse's current state. Variants of both Tony and Doom appear scattered across realities, but they often share similar traits: leadership, authoritarian visions, mastery of worlds. Even superior Iron Man behaves like Doom. His morality, ruthlessness, and aesthetic mimic Doom's cold precision. Marvel doesn't create patterns this strong accidentally. Now let's explore the identity echo theory. In multiversal physics, an identity anchor creates ripples of the same persona across different universes. Tony is an anchor, Doom is an anchor. But what if they originate from the same anchor point, splitting into two archetypes after a cosmic divergence, like two halves of a destined whole? This explains their mirrored trauma, motivations, intellect, and evolution. It explains why they inevitably collide or converge in every major storyline. It explains why Doom becomes Iron Man after Tony's death. It explains why Tony displays Doom like arrogance controlled only by circumstance, not ideology. Let's examine the moral alignment overlap. Tony calls himself a futurist, Doom calls himself a future. Both believe the world will collapse without their intervention. Both are willing to sacrifice autonomy, freedom, and even morality for survival. In any other story, Tony Stark would easily be the villain. In any other story, Doom could be the misunderstood hero. This duality hints at identity convergence. Another detail fans forget, Doom's mask hides a disfigured face, but in many timelines, the scars are minimal yet Doom wears the mask anyway. Tony's emotional scars are catastrophic, yet he hides them behind sarcasm, suits, and swagger. Both use armor as psychological anesthesia. Now look at their endgame destinies. Doom becomes Doom, above all a godlike multiversal ruler. Tony becomes the creator of a multiverse navigation system that allows gods to move through time. One transforms into a metaphysical entity. The other builds metaphysical tools. Both become cosmic engineers. This parallel isn't surface level, it's narrative level. So now ask, what if Marvel planted these seeds across decades to reveal one truth? Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom are two sides of the same multiversal archetype. One raised by science, one by mysticism. One shaped by privilege, one by tragedy, but both destined to become the same future, a ruler forged in armor. And here's the final bombshell: Marvel's Secret Wars reboot and the MCU Multiverse saga are both steering toward a storyline where identities blur, merge, collapse, and reform. If the MCU introduces Doom as a variant connected to Stark, or as a product of Stark's multiversal echo, it would be the boldest reveal in franchise history. Imagine discovering Tony didn't die, he transformed, or that Doom arrives not as a new villain, but as the evolved echo of Stark's legacy. Fans would be stunned, theories would explode, and the multiverse suddenly becomes deeply personal. And now we return to the core question: was Tony Stark always Dr. Doom? Maybe not in name, maybe not in origin, but in destiny, ideology, intellect, and multiverse identity. The evidence is overwhelming. They're not just similar, they're cosmically intertwined. And the moment Marvel reveals the truth, everything we know about Iron Man, Doom, and the multiverse will shift forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more mind-bending Marvel theories, breakdowns, and hidden detail explanations, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Your support keeps these theories alive, so hit that button and join the FilmVerse family.